Hi, in this video I will try to analyze the concept and institutional differences of four schools of fundamental political economic thoughts. The capitalistic economic thought that has been emerged from the Catholic economic institutions based on private property, monopolistic inheritance laws, quasi-freedom rights, and oligopolistic markets and state taxes. Then, the socialistic economic thoughts that emerged from rebellion against the curse of Roman Catholic feudal capitalistic economic institutions based on public property, public policy, and monopoly authority. Third, the market economic thought that are situational based on private economy and existing institutions, freedom rights, free markets, and state taxes. Then the democratic economic thoughts that are based on democratic freedom and equal and equitable rights, private property, democratic inheritance laws, democratic SIA institution, and democratic public policy, competitive markets, and state taxes. So historically, in ancient and medieval eras, global economies of small kingdoms and states were agrarian, local, and less diversified, which means the capital and technologies were less important in relation to labor and land natural resources. The natural resources were abundant for less population, thus economy basically run by religious ethics, statutes, and monarchs' regulations. Roman institutions and economies took universal shape in Europe as Roman imperial authority was sovereign, about half a millennium, and Roman Catholic or Protestant religion was state religion, about 2 millennium, with the same inheritance institutions. The Roman Catholic economies they were based on private property, monopolistic inheritance laws, quasi-freedom, market and state taxes institution. Consequently, production, marketing, and trading of Roman Kingdom's economies were also competitive under tax tariff structures. Mercantile and colonial economic thoughts were also based on the same economic institutions, with the expansion of economic horizons of larger kingdoms and states, and development of non-agricultural sectors. Capitalistic economic thoughts of Roman Catholic economics also developed side by side the feudal one based on the same economic institutions. So after forming the Union of Great Britain in 1707 with Wales, Scotland, and England, the character of its state area infrastructure, the SAI institution, changed into higher democratic. Democratic indicates here the system, structures, institutions, and principles that are based to ensure equal and equitable rights and privileges, as well as ensure mass individuals' interactions in freedom and equitable rights. As the vote words indicate, the large number of buyers and sellers, competitive or democratic, are also used as exchangeable as second best in absence of appropriate one. So the new democratic SII institution ensured higher human rights, freedom, and motion in social, economic, and cultural and political lives. What I mean by that is that a federal or larger unitary state is not small as ancient Greek states in areas and populations. Rather, those hierarchical integration of hundreds city-states into sub-counties and districts, counties, districts, regions, provinces, states, and finally into a federal union or unitary state in an ascending way. In a descending way, a typical modern state is hierarchically subdivided onto states, provinces, regions, shires, counties, districts, sub-counties, districts, counties, cities, communes, etc. This will unite the structure territorially as a whole that formed from the hierarchical subdivision of the state territory in a descending or ascending way in the state area infrastructure, the institution of the state. The SIA institution is conventionally identified herein as the decentralized administrative structure or of a larger state. It's not only subdividing the area, people, and decentralizing the national, local administration, but it's also they concentrating public and private economic, social, cultural, and political units. The agencies and the enterprises of the states are included within this analysis of the territorial subdivision as well. So historically, those are byproducts of decentralized administrative substructures of the state, but their economic impacts and activities are many times greater than of that. Not only the socioeconomic and physical infrastructures, but the local affinities and the nature of the national integrity of the peoples also shaped by the SIA institution. So it is appropriate to identify it as the SIA institution instead of administrative structure. So, as a result, urbanization, retail, and wholesale market centers, competitive market, non-agricultural sectors grew rapidly. It gave situational or inductive new thoughts of modern economics against deductive religious status and principles as like as others of the areas of science. Adam Smith identified that freedom and competition in production, marketing, trading that are underlying issues of higher growing British economy and postulated the advantage of the free market economics. As those work on the given situation, Smithian economies also maintained all institutions including Roman Catholic, and the Smithian economic thoughts are further developed as modern economics by classical, non-classical, and post-classical theories within this context of action. So the democratic SIA institution liberated the prevailing capitalistic institutions and ensured more freedom and competitive market in Great Britain, as well as ensured better resource mobilization, utilization, and growth of the national economy. However, economy gradually went through the cyclic crisis for monopolistic transitions of oligarchic capital and thereby higher income inequalities for prevailing monopolistic inheritance institution of the Roman Catholic. The scenarios of other kingdoms and states in Europe were worse than Great Britain, where no or less democratic SIA institutions were prevailing with various taxes. Those crises could not be eliminated except reducing. So by criticizing the private property system its monopolistic transformation, capitalistic political economy and classical economics like Karl Marx proposed the socialistic economic thoughts based on public property, the policy of authorities, which was the policy of Marx and Engels, as everybody knows. So Marx has further clarified the Roman Catholic economic system. In France, the country has solved the feudal political system crisis, an example with the increasing oligopolistic structure of land capital by democratic land reforms, and the democratic Christian inheritance statutes as the state law in place of long prevailing monopolistic Roman Catholic ones. Britain brought many democratic reforms in 1832-1833, but oligopolistic economic crisis could not be removed except in some reduction cases. So after the socialist revolution in Russia in 1917, Britain introduced the democratic Christian inheritance laws in 1925 in place of monopolistic Roman Catholic ones. And after World War I and II, most European countries have introduced democratic Christian inheritance laws following Great Britain and those feudal capitalistic. In example, the oligopolistic economic structures that have gradually transformed into democratic. So an example, we have competitive ones. That's a figure of case. So now the European economies were running under a democratic market economy based on democratic inheritance laws and democratic governance with or without democratic SIA institutions. In ancient and medieval eras, kings or king lords were owners of lands in Asian states. However, subjects enjoyed tenureship by semi-democratic or democratic inheritance institutions of the Hindu, Buddha, the Confucian, Muslims or others. The non-agricultural property and capital in feudal system was also conventionally private. So a type of quasi-private ownership and quasi-competitive market economy were prevailed in different states and regions in Asia. And corresponding economies were prevailing as depicted by Kautilya and others.